All right, we have come to the season finale of Season 2, Episode 25, Anasazi. This is the longest season of The X-Files at 25 episodes. Everything else is 24 or lower. So...
Longest episode, or longest season.
Yep.
Okay.
Number one thing here, this kid rides his motorcycle way too close to the edge of this mountainside. I was like, even though that's some really bad, like, composited green screen, like, town over his, like, side. I don't care. I still
close to the edge.
Bro. Your name better be Flying Eagle, otherwise...
You're gonna be Dying Kid.
This is my kid, Flying Eagle, and my other kid, Dying Kid. Dying Kid? You know, it's funny. I feel like we have such a fucking, like, uncultured perspective on things as, like, white Americans.
Oh, yeah. The names of native people, I don't know.
So this is what I heard when I was a kid. This is obviously 100% not true. But this is what I always grew up believing, how native people got their names.
Oh,
and
no.
This was, they would, like, look around when the kid was born.
What?
And they would name it after, like, the thing they would see when the kid was born. So it would be like, if they, like, looked when the kid was born, they would see a flying eagle, the kid would become Flying Eagle, or, like, running bear, or, you know, flowing water, or they would name it after, like, something that caught their eye during birth in nature. That's what I heard as a kid. I doubt that's true, because there's so many things I heard growing up that I look up later. I'm going to tell you, guys, this is something that we all need to accept. There's a lot of bullshit in your head, especially from your childhood.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Google has mind-fucked me on so many things. There are so many things I grew up 100% positive were true. 100% positive. And then you say something to somebody, we've had this, where you just, like, say something and you're like, I've never heard that. What are you talking about? And then you Google it and you're like,
yeah.
I've thought that forever. What's something that you guys have had that you thought was 100% true, and then you looked it up and it wasn't true, and you were like, mind blown, holy shit, this completely changes everything for me? I've had quite a few over the years. Quite a few where I was like, that's got to be true. That's not true. What? How? Like, one of the big ones was when I went to see I, Tonya. And I watched the Tonya Harding story, you know, of her and Nancy Kerrigan. And I grew up because, you know, I thought that Tonya Harding herself went over and clubbed her in the knee. And when I watched the movie, she even has a part in the movie where she says, you know, the media said this and that, and there were people who thought this or that or this, and even some people thought that I myself clubbed her over the knee. And I was like, that's not true. Like, I was in the theater like, wait, what? I always thought that for like 20, 30 years. It was crazy. Anyway, you have one?
I don't know. I don't have one off the top of my head. But I was just going to say that, like, I mean, you've always had to use a bit of discernment with the internet, of course, because obviously not everything you read online is true. But now I feel like that's even more so because of AI. Like, when you search on Google, they'll give you an AI, like, result, which sometimes it's like, okay, it's just like a mix of, you know, whatever it's drawing in. But there's definitely, like, I've seen people screenshot things that are, like, just very inaccurate and dangerous, too. Like, people looking at various things that involve, like, medical stuff. And so, you have to be, like, ultra careful with anything online now. And it sucks because it's like we live in the information age and we have all this information at our fingertips, but not all of it is accurate. So I don't know how Native Americans name their children.
Well,
and I am curious about it, though.
I mean, obviously, I think that, you know, they get kind of like tribe names nowadays.
I mean,
and they don't get like for instance, like I went to beauty school in Flagstaff, and there's the Navajo Nation is hardcore, like, up there. There's tons and tons of them. And there was tons of them that went to school with me. And their names were, like, Melissa and, whatever.
Yeah.
But then they had, like, tribe names.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like ancestral names that they gave them, too. So there was, like, the Christian name. And then there was their Navajo names or whatever. Anyway. Moving on from that, we've got the lone gunmen show up here. I feel like I try to mention them every time they come into the show. So it's always good to see them. We've got Mulder's apartment building. We find out later because Scully, discovers this. She discovers that they've been poisoning the water in the building. I think it's for Mulder's floor.
Yeah.
But this woman this is crazy because this is just kind of like a small part of the episode, but this is like a big fucking deal. Like, in order to get at Mulder, they poison the water, which is like what aggravates people. And a woman shoots her husband to death of 30 years. Mm-hmm. This is huge. This is such a big deal that's kind of very quickly glossed over. Like, I knew that woman. Her and her husband were together for 30 years. And then we, like, kind of just don't talk about it again. They realize it later, like, oh, that's probably why she shot him. But it's like, you just ruined these people's lives.
Yes.
Like, this woman just shot her husband to death. Yeah. She now has to live with that guilt. And she's going to prison for murder.
Yeah.
So she's going to go to prison for murder. Ends her life. Mm-hmm. It ends his life. And now she hates herself because she's going to be like, why the fuck did I do that? Why did I kill my husband? I loved him so much.
It's horrible.
This is like one of the craziest things that's happened in this show. And it's completely just like a side note.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful. And this is definitely, I think, this episode and, the start of season 3 are very much showing the shadow side of the government and how they literally do not care about any citizen. All they care about is, like, what's in their best interest.
Yeah. Yeah. We get Krychek here, kills good old Fox Mulder's father. Mulder is going to return the favor, but Scully thwarts that effort.
Which is good, because if she hadn't, then he would have killed Krychek with his gun. Yeah. Which then they would have matched and been like, see, you did kill your dad. Yeah. Yeah.
So she did him a solid, and she saves him, but we do find out that this is why he punches Skinner in the face, because he's just aggro. Yeah. And his water is poisoning his mind. And he's just, filled with rage. He's got the rage virus from 28 days later. He's going to go full zombie mode. Mulder's dad was working on a project with Smoky Man and others, the well-manicured man and others that we find out about in the next season. On Project Paperclip, but we'll get there. But his dad was up to some shady shit. We then, of course, later find out that his dad rejected the program and wanted to leave, and that's what ended up creating the rift and the strife, and eventually what ended up leading to Mulder's dad's death. But he's not a good guy. He's not a good guy in general. Like, I don't like him as a father, but this shit he was working with in the past, I don't care. You don't get to that place working in that facility with all, he's outside of that facility where they find all of the people's records where they've all had polio vaccinations and all that. We're getting ahead of ourselves. That's the next episode in the next season, but that's where this is all leading. And then, they find the train car that's buried. Why? So there's always things like this that are always confusing to me, and I think it's just because it's a show and they wouldn't have anything to write. Like, they wouldn't have anything to film, should I say, if they don't write it this way. So it's kind of just like convenience. is the only real explanation, but they just bury a train car with a bunch of rotting, like, alien hybrid corpses.
Yeah.
That, like, expose them, and the smoking man is freaking the fuck out. He is losing it over this. This is the first time you've seen him with any emotions.
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely freaking out, like you said.
Yeah. He's just like, this can't get out. This is the big one. Absolutely not. And it's like, and then they just go in very casually, you know, without thought, and just torch the thing. And it's like, why not just torture the thing anyways? Like, if they would have made mention of something like, we were keeping this for this reason, but now because it's exposed, like, it sucks. I don't want to have to do it because I want that, you know, we want that at our disposal.
Yeah.
But in order to cover it up, and it's going to, you know, like, that would add to the reprimanding, right? Like, it's like,
why did you destroy this?
Like, you have to make this choice, but now you screwed us because this is stuff we needed. Like, we kept this secret, and we kept it for a reason. Mm-hmm. But the way they come in and destroy it, it's like, it doesn't feel like it's there for a reason. And to bury a train car like that would take a lot of effort. And it's like, but why bury it when you could literally just destroy it? You're the government. You have access to anything you want. You can completely destroy these bodies to where there's no trace. There's no reason to leave behind remains. You can crush the remains. You can ground them down, and you can dispose of them and disperse them and sprinkle them all over, or you can, like, burn them up till there's nothing left. I mean, you guys have literal access to literally anything you want. And you don't have to answer to anybody except for rogue agents many years later that are trying to expose your lies. But it's just funny to me that they kept the bodies in there and then went to the trouble of burying them, which would take so much effort. And it's like, just fucking burn them. You did it anyway. But how Mulder makes it out of here, it's not even explained in the next season. Because I was like, how the fuck did he get out of there? And then it's just kind of like, he's buried under rocks.
A tunnel inside there.
Did we see this?
I think
tunnel?
we're shown it in the next episode.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the opening again because I was taking notes and maybe I missed.
It's not in the
opening.
Tunnel. It's when they're showing, like, these little hybrids.
When they're, like, running around screaming.
Because they do kill them with, like, nitrous oxide or whatever. Yeah, when they're running around screaming, and they're, like, all going towards an opening. So I think that opening is, like, a tunnel that he crawls out through. But I do think that, like, them not checking to even see if he's in there is kind of funny, because, like, they could have just sent somebody down and be like, oh, he's not here.
But they didn't even see him go in.
No, they didn't. They just assume that he's in there.
They're just assuming.
Yeah.
And then they're like, he's 100% dead.
Yeah.
And that kid's like, I don't know who you're talking about. So you would definitely want to get eyes on.
Yeah.
So if they saw him walk in there and then, like, close the hatch and then they opened it, like, seconds later and threw in a grenade or something, and they were like, it's a completely tight sealed area, there's no way he could get out, then I'd be like, that's good. But I would still, if I was them, I would wait for it to go out, and then I would retrieve his remains, and then, because they don't want that evidence. Right? Like, take his remains after he's dead, fly him back, and dispose of them.
The smoking man is just, like, he's very flustered. So I don't feel like he's operating at his best in this episode or during this time. Like, I think he's kind of panicking and making mistakes because of that. I do like that they, like, the file that they're trying to get that has all this information about, like, the hybrid program is written in a native language that only, like, a handful of people still even speak or know how to read. I think that's really cool. Yeah. So I thought that was neat. Yeah,
so for those who don't know, code talkers, or as the Nicolas Cage movie calls them, wind talkers, this was Navajo. Is it Navajo? It's Navajo. That's what it is. It's Navajo. They used it against the Japanese in World War II because it was the only code that the Japanese couldn't break. They just could not figure the language out. So they used these Navajo-speaking Native Americans to communicate across. Everyone had their different ways of scrambling their information, whether it was the Enigma code, which Alan Turing broke eventually. But the Japanese could just never crack Navajo. So they had these people, but it is becoming a dead language. And so, Mulder has to enlist the help of a World War II code talker to come in and help him. When we were talking about, which is very cool, and they wrote this all in that language, and he's there to decipher some of it, which supposedly, like, he remembers all of it and tells 20 people who know the language, and he's like, unless you want to kill, like, every one of us, you're just going to have to deal with it. I don't know how he told them all the information on there, and how it would then be credible, just because some random...
That's not until the next episode, though.
That's not?
Yeah, that's until the next episode.
Oh, well, whatever. People have seen this. This show's old. This show's fucking 30 years old. Anyway, the last thing I'll say here is, well, when we were talking about Mulder not being able to get out of the train car, they missed an opportune moment for the smoking man to have a one-liner when they dropped the fire in, and then he could have walked away and been like, who's the smoking man now?
Missed that opportunity.
Damn it! He had his line.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. He could have even dropped his cigarette like a mic drop.
Yeah.
Who's smoking now, Mulder?
More like smolder.
Oh, see? See? He missed multiple lines. He had a plethora. Or a plethora? Somebody I was watching in a show recently.
Said plethora?
Said plethora. And I was like, there's no way that's how it's pronounced. I've never heard anyone pronounce it that way in my entire life. Now, it's not a word I hear often, to be fair, but plethora? No. I had to, like, analyze it in my head for a few seconds before I even understood what the fuck they had said. I was like, what's a plethora? And I was thinking about it in context of the sentence, and I was like, plethora?
Yeah.
Is that the fuck he meant? What? Nobody says it like that. Potato, potato? Tomato, tomato? Plethora? No. Who's a smoking man now? Smolder. So you just combined them. Yeah, I like it. All right, guys, that's it for season 2. We finished season 2.
Yay!
I never thought I'd get back to this, man. I've been thinking in my head this whole time. I've been stuck on episode 11 of season 2. I'm never gonna finish season 2. Well, boom! Who's the smoking man now? Who's the X-Files couple now?
Yeah.
Mully and Scolder.
Yeah, Mully and Scolder.
Yeah, that's our names when we review these. No, it's not. We got a plethora of names to pick from.
Yes.
No, we don't. What am I talking about?
I don't know.
No. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next season, even though we talked about half of it.
Bye.